let's take this as a possible learning moment. So here's an old system. It was R12 original, and I could tell somebody touched it at least once before, because before I put on my wrench on here, the end is chewed up a little bit from somebody putting a wrench on there. And of course the Apple phone does not want, there it goes, does not want to. So this is chewed up a little bit, because this is the kind of wrench that you need when you operate these. It goes on all four corners. This is either front seated, back seated, or mid seated. Sorry about being off there. Let me back out again. And this has a packing in it. And when you're under vacuuming, you're trying to pull a vacuum, these packings are not always perfect and they could leak. Let's find out if this is one of those scenarios. So I'm stopping right here at 873, 74 vacuum. I'm still pulling a vacuum. It's still on, it's still open, but it won't pull no more. Now, the system did come in completely empty, so there could be a leak in it. Most likely there is at this age, but look at this. Turn off the vacuum, and our vacuum automatically goes up and keeps on going up. So we definitely have the leak. But is the leak caused by this packing, or is it somewhere else? So we're gonna find that out under vacuum. I'm not breaking out my ultrasonic leak detector because I just don't feel like it, because I wanna do this first, because I wanna see if my leak is coming from this packing. And let me zero in on here for you guys again. Let's get this out of the equation. So put a little NYLOG there. We'll go in a little bit more. Get a little bit. We'll put it so it's a 360 degrees all the way around. Vacuum cannot pull in through the NYLOG. So if you're doing commercial refrigeration, the same thing. You have those king valves, or the other valves that everybody calls king valves, but they're not king valves. It'll do the same thing. Okay, so now I'm 360 degrees with NYLOG around the shaft. I cannot pull a vacuum through that shaft. Now let's see what happens. Let's turn on the vacuum. We got the vacuum on. Where are we at? Now I'm going to turn it off. I turned off the vacuum and we still lose it. So I know it's somewhere else. All right, so now I'm going to go into nitrogen pressure or straight into refrigerant, because what I want to do on this one is I don't care about really finding the leak. I know the leak is pretty small. Well, pretty big, but pretty small. Small enough that I could run it probably with refrigerant. So the idea here is to find out if the compressor is good mechanically. I need to know these expansion valves have a tendency to fail when they get this old. And this is, what is this, 1990, before 94, because it's R12. Let's see if we could see over here. So this Jeep is 1987. So what usually happens is, if somebody worked on this before, I'm in a live shop, so there's going to be noise. The inside of this receiver dryer will get all rusty. And on the inside barrel of the surface of the walls, it might rust, and then the flakes fall off and they go to the bottom of the receiver dryer. Well, the bottom of the receiver dryer has a straw that goes all the way down to take liquid refrigerant and oil off the bottom of the receiver dryer. It also picks up the accumulation of rust particles, and then it'll transfer it down the liquid line and deposit those rust particles into the intake of the expansion valve and plug up the expansion valve. That's what happens with high moisture content. When guys don't do good vacuum, they put in contaminated refrigerant, they leave air in the system. All those different things that guys did years ago damage the system later on, because, oh, moisture doesn't hurt the system. I've done plenty of cars without a good vacuum on them, and they always work. Yeah, they work now, but they cause damage later. But in this case, if I had to guess, I think I'm gonna find possibly a fracture or a very small micro leak, maybe at this condenser. When I go into this more thorough, we'll find out. So I just proved that the leak right now was not at this shaft right here, because I put the NYLOG on it. And you cannot pull a vacuum through NYLOG or silicone grease, so that's not the problem. So I'll take you in on a trip on the next video, and we'll see where this leak is on this system when I fill it back up for testing, because I still want to know if it's electrically engages. I still want to know if the clutch is good, the coils are good, the bearing is good. I want to know that the internal mechanics are still good. I want to know that the expansion valve is still good. And so I will 100% completely fill the system up, 100% test it if it works. And then if I find a problem afterwards, recover the refrigerant back out of it. That's my diagnostic procedure, and then recommend what needs to be done after that. All right, let's come back to this and we'll see what happens.